Hey everyone, in today's video I want to talk about how I turned $2,000 into $16,000. And of course I'm not gonna keep you until the end. If you're just here for a quick answer, here it is. I invested $2,000 in building a website which I monetized with affiliate marketing via Amazon and then eventually sold it off. That's basically it. If you're just for that particular information, that's how I, invested $2,000 and then made $16,000. But if you want more details and you want me to reveal the numbers and you want sort of more of the story of how I actually made that website and how I was able to sell it for so much, stick around. So let's start with a little bit of a backstory. The main skill you actually need to succeed in affiliate marketing and basically do what I did is by learning SEO, which is search engine optimization. I've been working with SEO for the past 6-7 years. Basically, my whole career was in SEO, so it wasn't really difficult for me. But if you wish to replicate these results, this is the most important skill you have to have in order to succeed here. And then of course, building websites and then, all of a miscellaneous stuff, which I do believe is actually not that difficult. I do believe SEO is way more difficult to master than building websites these days, especially when they're so easy to build. But let's not get ahead of ourselves and first start that it was not the first website I built or sold. It actually started a few years earlier in 2016 when I built an affiliate marketing website based on like clothes and stuff like that. Me and my friend decided to kind of get together and try this thing out. And to be honest, we didn't really think it will take off anywhere, but eventually after around 7-8 months, the started making over $100 per month. And for us at that time, that was crazy. That was actually a lot of money. But as time went on, we kind of drifted apart in terms of what we want to do with our lives. I wanted to pursue SEO. My friend wanted more into content writing, and we kind of neglected that side. So we eventually decided to sell it. And that was a really surprising part. I knew there was a business in selling websites. I knew websites can sell for a lot, but looking at the site we built and the kind of how we developed it, I didn't think it was worth that much. But we actually ended up and selling it a bit more than a year after for $1,900. At that time, that was a lot of money as a one-time transaction for something that we built ourselves. So we split that profit that we made from selling that website, and I personally wanted more. Like I saw how we did an experiment of how building a site from start to finish to selling it. Like we went through the whole timeline. And with all that knowledge and especially improving with SEO during that time, I knew I could do a lot better. I had a lot more knowledge at the time and experience in SEO, and I thought, I think I can do better. I think I can make a site and sell it for more than $2,000. And that's basically how the idea of this new website came about. Okay, so in the next part, I want to talk about this specific website. And yes, I'm going to show what this website actually looks like, so stick around for that. But basically, I want to cover 3 different parts here: the basics, the content, and the link building. And I think those 3 key areas are everything you need to know, like 80% of what you need to know to start doing that yourself. And as with any SEO project, it always starts with keyword research, or in this case, I wanted to find a specific niche. So what's my website gonna be about? Is it about kitchen appliances? Is it about cars? Is it about books, plants, whatever? I just wanted to find a niche that I would be particularly good at. And here, the most important part is I've searched not for a niche, but for the keywords that I know I can rank for. So low difficulty, not a lot of competition, and I saw already sort of content that was not very well made, and I knew that with my sort of skills, I can do that better. And I've actually spent, I think, around a month doing that. Yeah, it actually took that long before I kind of figure out what my niche is, because at that time I actually didn't have a process for keyword research, so it was a bit chaotic. So that's why I kind of went from place to place until I actually found something that I think was worth it. And the final niche that I discovered is military, watches, and survival. Here you can see on the screen how the website looks right now. However, take in mind, I saw that website last year, more than a year ago, and it actually was changed a lot since I sold it. So now, as you see it, it actually looks way, way different than it used to before. But if we go to Wayback Machine, I think we can find how website looked before I actually sold it. So we had a niche. I had specific keywords of content that I want to build. I think I had around like 20 or 15 pieces of content that I knew I want to write out eventually. But first I needed to build a website. And I already did build a website on WordPress with the previous website. So it wasn't really new for me, but still I wanted to do it better. So it was a lot of things that I didn't know how to do. So I was learning like crazy. I was basically Googling every single thing that I needed to do, how to do a perfect logo, how to choose a font, how to move widgets around WordPress. I learned a ton just by experimenting and basically making it my own, because before we did it on a very basic level. So we didn't really touch that web. We basically bought a theme and then stuck around with it. With this new website, I wanted to feel more custom, more, premium and stuff. So I did put a lot of effort into making it, feel definitely better and not a templated website. So in the end, it took me 2 months to launch that website. And I remember really specifically that it was the end of June that I launched that website. I started working it in April, and then I got through all of the keyword research. I knew what content pieces I wanted to start doing. Then I hired a writer, started writing, but we'll talk about content just in a second. And once I got, first content pieces, I built the website in around a month, sort of doing it as best as I could. And that's it. It finally launched. Of course, if you haven't done it, building a website, it takes time. It's not super difficult. It's definitely not rocket science. It just takes time to get used to. However, I think that's the easy part. So building the website these days should be the easy part. The more important part is the content, because that is actually what is ranking. That is the critical piece in all of this. So personally, I didn't want to write those articles. I personally don't think I'm a good writer. Second, I think it's just boring and very time consuming. And I don't know, at that time I had a budget that I wanted to invest, and I thought it was reasonable because I was working on other things like freelancing. So it kind of made sense to outsource this particular thing. So I found a writer on Upwork. That's the freelancing platform I started my kind of freelancing career. And I found a decent writer which charged me $20 per 1,000 words, which I think looking right now, it's actually quite low. These days, the prices are way, way higher, but probably my content standards are way, way up here. So I spent in total $700, and 90% of that is basically on content. And I didn't spend anything else for the remainder of 2017. So basically, to launch the website, if you're like building the website yourself, it costs around like $500, $700 with a decent I don't remember the exact number, but I think it was around like 10 content pieces. And that already felt enough to go and launch that website. But don't worry, I'll get into all of the actual numbers and more detailed numbers a bit later in the video. And so the third part of this section is link building. That's another thing that I did. Once I built that website, I launched it at end of June, beginning of July. It kind of sat there for a month, and in the meantime, I think I started working on it again in August and started sort of doing link building. And if you didn't know, link building is a process where it depends on the strategy, but the main outcome you want to get is that you want to get a specific backlink, a link from another website that links to your website. In simple terms, this is how Google values websites. The more links you have from different websites, the better your website is and the higher you can rank on Google. It's a very simplified version, but that's the main idea of link building. That's why you need to do that, is for you to get more and more organic traffic. Personally, I found a really great strategy. It's called research page strategy. It's basically, I found like a ton, I think I spent too much time on this. I mean, in the end, it paid out, but at that time, it was frustrating. I had a list of like over 1,000 different websites that I gathered manually by hand, just going. Nowadays, I wouldn't do that. There are a lot of software and a lot of ways to go about this. But back then, I didn't know that. So I basically picked every single site manually. And of course, send all the emails manually. So, but the way the strategy works is that you find a website that has a sort of a resource page. And that usually is can be links, that can be named resources. And that website lists a lot of other links that are resources for that website. So let's say you're building a website about dogs, and then you have a tab where it says resources. You click on it, and then you say, here are my most favorite resources about dogs, and you list some veterinarian, vet clinics. Then you list some food where you can buy some food, and just basically a collection of links. And when I found these pages, I basically made a big Google sheet. And then I found out their email, of course, doing it manually took me ages to do. And then I would send out an email to them asking them, of course, you have to keep in mind that all of these resource pages that I found were relevant to my particular website. So they were focused on military, on watches, or on survival. And then once I kind of send them an email asking, hey, I saw your resource page, looked amazing, and I do also have a website in this niche, which I think can be a great addition to your resource page. And that's it. And I also send out emails, which I don't recommend doing it manually. There are a lot of software around this these days, but I sent out about, over 1,000 emails like that. And it actually took me like 3 months. I think I spent around like 3 months, like on and off, just trying this, getting it through and getting as many backlinks as possible. And that really kickstarted my whole website. And that's the end of the first 6 months. By the end of 2017, that's what I did. I was writing content and I was doing link building. And then the next year, it actually pretty simple. Nothing major happened. I was just going and I was working on and off on that website depending on what happened, what was happening in my life at that time. You see, I didn't spend full time on this website every single day for 2 years. Like the amount of hours I put in are actually not a lot because most of it was waiting. I don't kind of recommend doing it. If you want more growth faster, it really makes sense to kind of publish content as soon as possible and working on link building every single day if you have the resources for that. But it is also possible to make a website, let it sit for a little while, come back and work on it, let it sit for a while, and then kind of keep building. And that's what I did with this website. There were like a lot of 2-3 month breaks in between. I did nothing, like literally nothing. And then I gathered some additional sort of budget. Then I spent another $300-$400 on content. Then I wait. Then I spend some budget on improving website loading speed. Then I wait again, then I do some link building, some guest posting. It was kind of very chaotic. And that's basically a really quick overview of those 2 years, what I actually did. Of course, I wasn't able to mention everything, but that's just the major overview. However, if you want more details about any of these steps, or you're interested in SEO, or you really like this type of videos, definitely leave the comment down below with all of the questions or requests for videos like this. I read every single comment and I do take them into consideration. So if you find this useful, let me know and I'll definitely make more content like this. Okay, so now you know the whole process of how everything went by, but let's get into all of the numbers, how much I actually invested, how much I made from different income sources, because there was more than one, and how much I actually sold it for. So, of course, for that, let's jump into the Google Sheet. And the first sheet that you see is my investments. And of course, everything here is in euros, but if for you it's easier to understand in dollars. So dollars are a bit more than euro. Is that the correct? Basically 500 euros is going to be about almost $600. So every number here is just a little bit more in dollars than it is in euros. So just keep that in mind. So basically, as I said, I started and I invested in June, and I invested it 530 euros, so almost $600. And then I invested another like $50, $60 in July. And as you can see, for that year, that was it. I was basically working on link building, never done anything else. And then, in 2018, I invested basically the same amount as I did in 2017. However, this time it was way more spread out. And you can see the months where I did nothing. Well, kind of, you can imagine that January and February, I literally did nothing probably. July and August, I did nothing. And then I invested it, 80, 90, maybe $200 at some cases, maybe like $50 per month. So it was not a lot. And I just, went as I could. I did up that investment in 2019 and especially in June, sort of investing a lot in more content and stuff like that. But again, throughout these 2 years, just above $2,000 were invested in total. So not a lot actually compared to the amount of rewards you can get. And I haven't even talked about, and that's the next step, is the actual income. So yes, I did sell the website for a lot, but I also made money in the process, right? The site was making money before I sold it. And if we go here, these are the three main income sources that I had with the website. So of course, Amazon affiliate program was definitely the main one. And then AdSense, it was not a lot. If you can see, it's only like, like $10 most. Like come on, I made like over $50-$60 in a year. So that's literally nothing, but I kind of had it in there. And for those who don't know, AdSense is basically a display ads banner from Google. So you can place them on your site and start making money. But my website didn't get enough traffic because you need a ton of traffic to make, enough with display ads. So it's just there. Then of course I was accepting guest links. What does that mean? That means if somebody emails my website and asks for me to put their kind of website link on my website, I would actually charge for that. I don't recommend doing that for any sort of website if you want to build authority. And at that time, I didn't really care about that website. So I kind of was just, people were offering me money, I was kind of taking it. But if you want to build a real authority website these days, I don't recommend doing this because you get a lot of junk that way and your website just gets cluttered. But you live and learn. At that time, I was acceptable of those. These days, I wouldn't do that. So, but I have to mention, guest links actually pushed my site valuation by a lot. And if you take a look, it earned just a little half of what Amazon earned. Almost $500 here compared to $1,000, something like $300 or something like that. So it's definitely quite a significant sum compared to AdSense. That's why it was important for my website. And then you can see all of the numbers here, the total revenue and so on and so on. Let's move on to 2019. 2019 is right here. And that's actually where you can see that Amazon started making me real money and consistently over $100 per month. 129 euros, $250, $60, something like that, $200, over $300, probably $70. And then of course my peak was July, basically that month when I sold my site, which was above $400 per month. AdSense also picked up because of the traffic, but again, didn't make much sense. It only earned just below $100 in that year. And then I did receive some good offers again and made almost like above $500 with guest links. So comparing that, it was 2,500 euros and then 1,600 euros in the previous year. So quite a nice jump, I would say. And these are the totals. So of course I didn't include 2017 because, look at that. It's $2, it's $3, $4, $6. The numbers are just minuscule. And of course, December was the first one that it picked up. But besides that, nothing. And this is the whole total revenue. And in those, well, exactly 2 years, because I started in July and then I ended up in August, I earned 4,000 euros. And let's move on now to the total revenue calculation right here. And here actually I made it in dollars as well, so it would be easier for you. So I sold the website for just above $14,000. I made in total in those 2 years from all income sources on that website, I made almost $5,000, and the total costs were just above $2,300. And well, the total profit for that whole project in 2 years is $16,729.80. And I think that's pretty good compared to the amount. I mean, yes, I didn't really calculate the amount of time I went into this, but I knew I wasn't working it. It was not my full-time job. It was definitely a side gig on the side. And making it $16,000, $8,000 per year for this, yeah, it sounds good. And I mean, that was not even the beginning, because I didn't even want to sell that website, but a buyer actually reached out to me. And I mean, they gave me such a good offer that it was difficult for me to pass on. And I mean, I knew that I wasn't taking that website anywhere, and I already had the buyer without any transaction fees. Like, the deal was too good to pass on. That's why I actually sold it. But you can build websites, you know, that earn over $1,000 a month and then sell it. And, you know, imagine the price for those type of websites. And that's the whole story of how I, well, invested $2,000, and again, not at once, but actually over 2 years, and then turned that eventually into a $16,000 profit. If you want to know more about affiliate marketing, about SEO, about building websites, I'm actually building quite a few at the moment. You want more details, more information, this is the type of videos you really enjoy watching, drop the like down below, comment down below, let me know, because I can't see the views, but if you don't like the video or you don't comment, I have no idea if people enjoy that, if people like that. So please engage, comment, discuss. Anyway, thank you for watching. That's been it, and I'll get you guys in the next one. Ciao.